Hi, I'm Rachel and I'm making an art YouTube tutorial. Recently I found myself stuck at home getting quite bored, so I decided to have a look on YouTube and teach myself how to draw. And to my surprise, I improved so much. I started with this, and then after watching a few YouTube tutorials that polished up my technique, I was able to develop this. So I decided to make my first art YouTube tutorial, and I'm going to do my best to explain as clear as possible so you can take it all in. Maybe you want to improve your skills, or you'd like to learn a new skill. I've made this YouTube tutorial to help you with that.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And I've got the information for this video from Rapid Fire Art. They do some fantastic YouTube tutorials over there for art, and this particular one's about light and dark. And I found the light and dark tutorial really helped me. So that's why I decided to make my first tutorial a tutorial that covers light and dark. Maybe you want to draw a face, and you want the face to look like it's got more depth and form. And you need to do this by adding shading. Shading adds the shadows to the face to give that illusion. And it changes it from looking like quite a flat drawing to a 3D drawing that really pops and looks real. In order to be able to do great shading, you need to understand three fundamentals. The first one is pressure control. It's very important to learn how to control the pressure of your pencil, to understand when to push hard and when to hold back. The second one is how to shade smoothly. And the third, now this one's quite important to understand, it's about how the light behaves and interacts with the objects that it touches. So in this YouTube tutorial, I'm going to explain about those three things. So number one is pressure control. So when you push on your pencil, that makes the graphite quite dark. And when you are very soft with your pencil, that creates lighter shades. And those different shades going from dark to light and light to dark are given different values. And when you're wanting to make something look real, for example, let's say I want to draw a ball, I would start with a circle. Now how am I going to change that circle to look more like a ball? I need to add shadows to make the circle look more 3D. So when you go to draw and you draw something with very limited values, limited shades, the drawing will look flat. But if you add a more diverse range of shades, a more diverse range of values, then the picture will look real. So good pressure control is very important. How do we develop an understanding of good pressure control? You need to practice. You need lots and lots of practice. And you can start with a pencil and shade from one side of the paper to the other, starting from light and going through to dark. Or you can draw a rectangle and divide it up and do the same kind of thing, going from light to dark, or you can go dark to light. The important thing is to develop good pressure control, and also it's very important to develop a consistent pressure when you're shading. And the only way to develop that is also through a lot of practice. And number 2, how to shade smoothly. So when you shade, you don't want to have a lot of white gaps in your work. So how do you stop that from happening? How do you make sure that you don't have those gaps? Well, first, it's really difficult with a sharp pencil. You can use the side of your sharp pencil, and that will render a much better result. It's also possible to use your pencil when you dull the tip and make it round. See the difference? And also remember, when you hold your pencil, for shading it's not good to hold the pencil and twist from your wrist. It's much better to move your arm from the elbow. You'll be able to achieve much longer shadings. I will make another video that will cover more shading skills. In this video, I've just kept this one short on shading smoothly. Now number 3, understanding light. It's important for us to learn how to add dark and light in the right places. When you understand how to do that, it'll make a big difference to how real your picture will look. Your picture will look more real when you're able to add the light and dark in all the right places. I'm going to use this ball to help me explain the different kinds of light that appear on a surface. I'm going to use the ball because it's much more easier to explain with the ball than it is with more complex structures such as your nose or your lips. The ball has a nice easy surface to work with. Okay, we'll have a ball and we'll have a light. And the ball has two sides under that light. You have the light side and then you have the shadow side. Those are the two clear sides of the ball, light and shadow. When you have a look at the picture of the ball, you'll see in the middle, in between the light side and the dark side, there's a dark shadow called the core shadow. So it's right there in the middle. It's the darkest part of the shadow in the middle there, of the light side and the shadow side. It's called the core shadow. I've used a white ball on a yellow surface so you can see clearly where the light comes down and reflects back up onto the white ball. So you see we've got the direct light coming down and the light that bounces back up onto the ball is the reflective light. See the yellow on the ball? That's why you'll find with the ball and also with many other things, it's very rare to have a full black shadow. You usually have different shades of light and dark intermingling. So have a look at this nose now in the picture. Can you see where the direct light and where the core shadow is and where the reflective light is sitting on the surface? So remember I said before that light can reflect off many things in the environment. It is very hard, however, for the light to bounce around in small tight places, like where the ball touches the surface. And that dark shadow there is called the occlusion shadow. And then behind the ball, there's a dark shadow called the cast shadow. That's where the ball blocks the light from traveling. When you look at the cast shadow, you can work out where the direct light is coming from. If you look at the cast shadow and trace it back up onto the object, you can follow it up to where the light would be coming from. cast shadows can you find on the nose? Now it's time to talk over the light side of the ball. I only really need to talk about 3 things there. The first one is the core light. That's the part where the area on the ball is facing the light. Then you have the highlight. That's where the light actually reflects. It's the brightest part on the light side of the ball, and that actually can change depending on where you're standing and looking at it. The highlight can appear in different places. And lastly, we'll talk about the midtones. That's where the light comes down over the ball and the ball starts to curve away. So the light just starts to soften a bit and it will become more shadowy. Can you find the core light and the highlight and the midtones on the nose? Well, I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video today. If you liked this video and you want to see more, please push the like button underneath this video. This is my first video about basic art skills. My next video will be about shading techniques. Until next video, see ya!